The weather is so erratic right now. We do not know what is happening, what is coming towards us. So I'm designing this for really cold times ahead. Hello friends, so it's been a long time coming. Over 13 years I have been developing and preparing for this eco home that I bring to you today. It is not built yet, but as you can see in this video, I have done all the preparation work to make this home a reality. So I'd like to go through some of the features and design concepts that have gone into this waterlarium cold climate living bioshelter organism. The reason that I call it an organism is because it's truly alive. And you can see it's a machine, a combination of all of the learned wisdom that I've got from Mike Reynolds and the Earthship Academy, which I have recently completed, the Cal Earth Institute in California. I learned with Hajar Gibran, Dome Gaia, biogeometry from Ibrahim Karim. I stand upon the shoulders of many masters. So this is not my concept. I can't claim it as mine. Many people and masters and a lot of research from other people have gone into this. I have combined it into what I see as a unique home for cold climates. Like if I'm going to build a home for myself, I would like to build a home like this. And it may seem strange at first, the way it looks, but bear with me. So let's go. The basic geometry is laid out in Vesica Pisces. So it's the most special sacred geometrical proportion. So we've got 1.618 to 1. Yeah, the proportions. Then the geometry of this circle, if you were to continue the geodesic dome and make it a full dome, to this back circle is again 1.618 to 1. Same as some of the ratios of foundation to height is also based on sacred geometrical proportion. So the geometry is intricate in the design of anything on Earth. It is so vital, and what I'm hoping to achieve is a well-being inside a home that that just feels good. And I have felt it before in some of the homes in Mexico and even in Johannesburg, that a home that's just really well thought through, blended into nature. You walk in and you have this sense of warmth inside. Let's speak about the foundation. The foundation is going to be made predominantly from tires for all the heavy sitting walls and components, for the exception of this front foundation, which are going to be a pillar here and another pillar here with a nice strong footing. So the foundation is going to be with tires, and I'm going to insulate underneath the foundation and underneath the floor to make sure that we do not lose any heat, because in Russia and Canada, some of the average temperatures in some of the areas is as little as 7 degrees Celsius. So a stock standard design from Mike Reynolds, which is my great master wizard in biotecture, but his design is not going to work for really cold climate because of the insulation that needs to happen underneath the floor. The walls have decided to reduce an amount of tires and substitute them with super adobe. I love super adobe, and it is such a great building material, using less than 1/10 of cement and much easier than pounding tires, because even kids can do it with the little stomper and compress earth. And some of the techniques now that I've learned, that you can have 2 people with a special little trolley operating on top and actually just going down on the amount of crew, because the current Earthship uses 30-40, and when I went in Malawi it was 120 of us that were pounding those tires, plus the locals that came to build their school. It's insane an amount of people that's required for conventional Earthship. So I've decided to take the best out of Mike Reynolds' design and combine it with my own building experience and the lack of financial ability that the world, the real people are having right now. So how can we build a home with less crew, possibly even just a family, using a little bit of machinery if we have to, which is still way cheaper than labor, and create a home that's really comfortable and beautiful and can nurture and keep us safe and well fed inside. Super adobe walls placed onto tile foundations here, here, here. I've decided to keep this wall as a tile wall because why not? I want to test it out. I want to test the difference between the tires and the sandbags. I want to test the fumigation. Do the tires really not have any off-gassing effect versus the sandbags? Do all these tests. So for me, this is like a research lab. So in your home design, you might want to get rid of the tire wall altogether and continue with super adobe. But be that as it may, I'm combining a few various methods of construction. Here we have a tile wall with a wooden beam roof. Here we have brick vaulted ceiling, which I learned in Mexico, which I actually have a Russian architect that's going to come to our live training in July 2021, which is happening in Russia. So if you're wanting to learn this live, you're most welcome to. But we have a Russian architect that's going to teach us how to make this vaulted ceiling from bricks. And that's very, very cool. We're going to use some formwork, which you construct prior that the bricks can lean on. And I've already spoken to the architect and he's committed for July 2021 to come through to our workshop. We have a ferrocement roof here. Yeah? I'll turn this just now. But basically we have a ferrocement ceiling that going to create a really nice feature with sunlight that comes in at 6 degrees height only in winter. Really low sun. 0 6 degrees. you can't see it, but it's a tiny angle. We're talking about an angle that's, like that. The way I'm designing the ceiling is to have it in a silver top part of it, silver reflective color that will bounce sunlight down into the floor and the walls of the main room. So I know it may seem strange, like I don't want a white ceiling, but at this part we're going to have a, and you can have it all wavy and whatever, but we're going to have a darker walls because they're going to absorb the sunlight and store it in the walls. Let's talk about the heat. This is what I'm doing. The first feature is an insulation underneath the floor, keeping at least 3 feet of floor that's going to be insulated. So yes, we're going to have a machine come out and dig out the vesica piscis shape. We're going to lay down the insulation and then we're going to put that earth back in. Then as per the typical Earthship design, of course, we have the north facing in the southern hemisphere or south facing in the northern hemisphere, all the windows. So we have the main geodesic dome that's going to have sunlight that's going to come in and heat this back room. Here is a greenhouse, which I have made out of polycarbonate. Here it is, which is way cheaper than doing it out of glass. So my main feature here is how do we reduce the cost of the building? Current Earthship in its global model is $400,000. So this is, although Mike Reynolds proclaims a free lifestyle, but $400,000 does not lie on the streets, and many of us will have to go into heavy debt to be able to build that home. I insist that this home is built modularized, so you can build room by room and not all together at the same time, and that you do not climb into debt to construct this building whatsoever. As you can see in this design, I have reworked the standard geodesic dome to be able to extend the super adobe walls to be able to house the polycarbonate tunnel within the geodesic dome geometry, which was quite a revelation, because this means that the geodesic dome, which lies on the super adobe wall nice and strong, and the super adobe wall acts as the cap, the end of this tunnel. And you can see it more in some of the 3D renders that I'm starting to put together. And of course, I'll be working a lot closer on the 3D render this entire winter. So as time goes on, you're going to see more clarity. And we are going to be putting out the lessons as they become available. I will share with you how I construct it in 3D. Although my aim is to give you the ready-made drawing, the ready-made 3D, the ready-made plans on how to construct it, and of course the entire video course from start to finish. So whilst we're on the side view, we have a sauna in the back here. There she is, right in the center. We have our sauna. Now the sauna will have a very clever oven. Part of the oven will be in the kitchen main space, which can be the workshop or the kitchen, or wherever is this multi-purpose, very high ceiling, almost 4 meters high at the highest point, a couch that will be heated from the stove. The stove, I'm actually going to meet a professional Russian oven stove builder, that we are going to design this stove to be able to service a sauna as half of it. But whilst you're firing the sauna, the building must not warm up in the summer. Whilst you're firing the kitchen or this main stove, you could have all the excess heat going to these pipes and store it in the 1.5 meter wall thickness. We have 1 meter, 3 feet of wall thickness, same as an Earthship, all the way around behind the tires. We have an insulation here, which I'll give you all in color very soon. This is just basic starting sketch. We have an insulation here, and we have insulation on the outside. So the insulation here makes sure that the water tank and all of its cold water does not move all coldness into the space. So this insulation will make sure that this stays cold, but this insulation will make sure that this does not freeze. So as per the Earthship exactly, these pipes are the metal cheap galvanized air duct pipes, which will allow warm hot air to move through them and store all the heat during every time you fire the stove. It's not going to be wasted, because right now I saw the Canadian Earthship that they built. The guy is sitting there by a typical little fireplace made of metal. I'm using one here in the house that Zoya built. It uses ridiculous amounts of wood. I know for sure, Russian stove, you put in this much firewood, you stoke it up, and 3 days, 2 to 3 days, you do not have to fire that stove again, because of all the clever passages that go through all of the mass of the stove itself. So that's why the stoves in Russia are so huge, because it goes via all of these ducts. The air that's coming out is literally cold, and then the clay bricks store the heat and radiate it out in the same law of thermodynamics, which is what the Earthship uses. Now, instead of making this huge Russian stove, we're going to make a much smaller stove, but we are going to send the air through the walls. And I'm going to be designing this, and this is why the next 6 months will be more of a theory lessons, and we'll go through all of this and we'll brainstorm together, have open circles where you can see that the air is going to be sent, there is the stove, going to be sent through the walls and out into the atmosphere. Top view, you can see it's going to get sent through the walls and also through the mass behind the walls. So it's stored for winter time. The sauna is going to be made from bricks. It can be used hempcrete, aircrete, or clay bricks, just because it's a good material for sauna. Excuse this drawing, it's not part of this drawing, it's spilled over. So there's a super adobe foundation, these little bags, you can see them, and here is the tire wall, which is here. So everything is really, I've done it exactly to scale and exactly where it needs to be to replicate the top view, the side view, and so on. We have a tunnel, a polycarbonate tunnel, which I explained to you, which is going to go like that. So it's not exactly fully transparent. That's why we have a glass geodesic partial dome, which will allow us to enjoy the view where the house is facing, but it will be facing south. We have an additional tunnel over this area. This is our aquaculture zone. So this is where we're going to grow fish, and there it steps down. That lowest part here is this lowest part, and this little step here is this little step here. In this aquaculture zone, we grow fish in this area, and I'm hoping I will be able to swim here, and you will be able to swim. As this is going to be 30 feet, you can do some laps back, forth, back, forth. So let's carry on with the features of the heat. So we got the tunnel, so that's going to allow the sunlight to enter into the space, heat the floor, heat the walls, and excess is going to go through into this 1 meter gap before the insulation here and store all the excess heat in the spaces. Here I have an interesting feature as I've learned from Jean-Paul composting method, a French man, and he uses wood chips to basically generate a shitload of heat for 6 months. So this is going to be an entire composting unit where, should you choose to have human manure toilet, where you can throw your human manure, but otherwise it's going to have wood chips, sawdust and manure to activate the space with bacteria, and bacteria in the decomposition process are going to heat the air pipes, which are going to send the excess heat again, and they'll be connected to the same pipes, and water pipes, and these are going to go to our shower and going to heat up the hot water for our shower and our taps. So we're already reducing the amount of energy needed in winter to heat the house and to heat the water. You mustn't be scared that we're having a stove. This is a backup stove should we hit ever minus 30 Celsius, minus 40 Celsius. The weather is so erratic right now. We do not know what is happening, what is coming towards us. So I'm designing this for really. The Russian stove is super efficient, and if we need to stoke it ever in the midst of the winter with all of the Earthship features and the underfloor insulation and the Jean-Paul composting method, which is going to give us excess heat, we're going to stoke this once a week to have a sauna, just to enjoy a really good sauna, and it's fantastic. There's your little sauna shelves and another shelf underneath that you can lie in, so you can take 3 people. This sauna, when we stoke it, all the excess heat is going to go through the walls once again. You can see how this home is going to be ready for winter in Canada and Russia. Of course, with insulation on the ceiling of up to 1 foot thickness, but definitely 20 centimeters. There's our insulation. I have changed the roof features as well, which I'd like to show you. I have lowered it to 1.7 meters at the back. I have upped it just like an Earthship at an angle going up. You can see the old one shining through here. Here's a new roof design. Because here we can have couch, we can have things that don't need to give us a height, or at least you'll be able to reach this back area and you're almost at the ceiling. But you do have this sense of expanse and much higher ceiling, so you have the because higher ceiling is beautiful, but you don't need to have it everywhere. So that way we have the water that's running all the way down into our water tank. There's our water tank with an entrance, and that's going to store at least 10,000 liters of water. And we have a cold room, which is designed according to Russian traditions. So I'm bringing a lot of Russian ecotech into this, being Russian and living in Russia and building this for Russia. But I can guarantee you Canadians and Americans and people in other cold countries will enjoy it just as much. A cold room is a space where you keep your veggies and your preserves that don't freeze, but yet the room is really cold. So it shares a wall without insulation with the water tank. This of course will be waterproof, and insulation on the outside will make sure that this does not freeze. Then we have the cooling tubes. The cooling tubes are same as the Earthship. They run underneath the house and they distribute cold air into the spaces. So it's important to understand with the air tubes, there is summer air that's going to cool this house down. It's going to enter as per the Earthship and exit just higher at the glass windows here, and exit into the greenhouse and exit out of our skylights of the greenhouse as per the Earthship standard. That's the summer air. The winter air is slightly different. The winter air is going to enter through a geothermally heated zigzag pipe, which is going to be 30 meters away or outside of the house and 3 meters deep or 9 feet deep. And this pipe is going to deliver the air that's 5 degrees plus Celsius on average throughout winter. So it's still pretty cold, but having the outside air is minus 20, minus 30, it's 35 or 25 degrees warmer than outside air. This air is going to enter into the clever Russian oven and be heated by already the warmth of all the channels that this Russian oven has. So you are delivering geothermally heated warm air, which is fresh, into the house and into the fireplace. Then this air comes up, and when you're firing the oven has inlets of air that are at the bottom, and then this air gets sucked in through the wooden floor, but tiny gaps that the air can move through the floor, creating a negative pressure, sucking through the oven, and that way you have a warm floor without any pipes. These pipes, something I thought of, would be very interesting to put a little bit of a pond outside, so you have some mint and some aromatic herbs that are growing just outside these pipes, bringing in fresh air that actually has the beautiful smell that's in the herbs. Is going to come in and create this amazing fresh foresty or mint or whatever you decide to plant here. Obviously things that you need to resonate with, things you need to research, but definitely have the beautiful smelling air coming into the house. Let's talk about water. So the water, very important. So all of these spaces and all of this is going to be level at the top. Level, level, level. So we're going to fill up all of these gaps. We're going to fill up all of these, the ferrocement ceiling of the water tank. We're going to fill up all of this with earth, and we're going to put an EPDM liner. Or if you do not have the funds, it will be 3 layers of plastic. But I really recommend EPDM liner because it stretches. It can't be pierced so easily as a plastic. But be that as it may, I myself may even use some plastic. Huge plastic sheeting over this that is going to be shingled to make sure that we do not have any water coming in. But of course, EPDM liner is preferable, but it's bloody expensive. But basically, we're going to have an EPDM liner going right over this whole thing and making sure that we are having water not enter the space underneath. That's the main purpose of EPDM liner. And then on the roof, I'm planning to have a living roof, which will avoid us using the metal tin roof, which is again costly and unexperienced builders quite difficult to construct. So we're going to have a living roof that's going to act as a filter for rainwater coming in. So that's why EPDM liner is also so good, because it is non-toxic. The thin layer of living roof is going to filter the water. The water is going to touch onto the EPDM liner, and all the excess water is going to go into our water tank, and the excess water out of the water tank is going to go out into the lowest part and flow away from the house. Let's look at the gray water. So we have our bathroom, and this is the bath and like an area where you can have exit out of the sauna. Yeah. The kitchen is going to be in our main space. So all the water features are up against this wall. The grey water is of course going to enter into the botanical cells. And here is going to be the grey water. Here is going to be the sewage water. Yeah. And just like the lesson I've done on the water movement in an Earthship, we're going to be replicating that to the T. So a typical botanical cell with water entering from one end and moving through to the other end. Then that water gets pumped to the toilet, and the toilet is being flushed with that water, and that water overflows to the botanical cell for black water with a septic right underneath the toilet, and the excess water is going to flow through here, and then it's going to be entering the aquaculture zone with the living machine on this step. These steps is going to be the living machine, which is basically a set of glass tanks which is going to purify and polish up the already treated wetland sewer water. Is going to purify it, circulate it through these cells, and then that water is going to flow into the aquaculture system. So the aquaculture system is going to be topped up every time you flush the toilet. The kitchen water is going to go to the sewer as well, provided that you're using non-toxic soaps. We have the worm farm here, and we have the aquaculture breeding spaces here, which is with the can walls. These are pathways in the greenhouse. There's little with lines, and these are growing spaces. So the growing spaces are basically going to grow us food all year round in the greenhouse, even in the midst of freezing winter. We're going to have some growing lamps here, which will allow us to extend our sunlight period, and the whole house will be locked up so not to allow any cold air coming in. So this is your buffer zone. So you're going to have a glass here, straight, just like an Earthship, and we're going to have the polycarbonate tunnel going out with a geodesic going over here. Let's talk about clean water. Clean water, as to continue from the roof, going to enter our main water tank, and then it's going to enter a Biochar filter, which I learned in Thailand, which we have already taught and built 2 of in South Africa. And here I'm going to join it with the Earthship water organizing module. But the water organizing module uses very expensive little filters, pre-treatment filters, that I'm going to replace with our robust Biochar filter. So the standard water organizing module from Earthship is going to be much more simplified, and the Biochar filter is going to work hand in hand with it and deliver 75 gallons of fresh drinking water to all your taps, including your shower and your drinking taps all over the house. The beauty about the Biochar filter versus a standard Earthship fancy little high-tech filters is that the Biochar filter uses 50 gallons of gravel, 50 gallons of sand, 50 gallons of biochar, and that water is superb. This is already a much lower tech system, so still working in combination with the Earthship and all the research Mike Reynolds done, but just perfecting it and making it simpler, more low tech, more DIY, hands-on, but we're going to teach you every step of the way. Zoya is going to be helping me to record this training. We're going to edit it together. I will be putting a lot of love and attention and diagrams, and this is going to be the best course I have done ever to this point. So why is this home so important right now? Well, was the weather being wonky honky, all going weird on us? We do not know what's coming, and I want to be prepared for the future. Without any fear, but I really want to be prepared. Secondly, the other night I woke up at just before 4 o'clock because I was so cold in this wooden house with insulation. But I was cold because this is not mass, although it's really nice, and it's October, end of October, and I woke up and I had to fire this little metal oven, and because I couldn't sleep, and my back is so sore because, you know, my bed is cold, everything is cold. And this is the end of October. What will happen in January? You know, it's insane. People in Canada right now are putting tremendous amounts of money into being able to heat their homes. This home will be heated by the sun throughout the summer and store it in winter and give it back in winter time when the temperature inside the rooms is lower than the temperature inside the battery bank of the heat. Even if we do use firewood once a week to stoke up the sauna, which is already a beautiful experience, this is all we will need to heat this house. Another really interesting feature that I would love to share with you is the calendar. This guy I have been developing for as long as I can remember. It's a Bindu dome, just like the top of the little Moscow cathedral, but it's made out of little glass panes. I've seen it in the Shelter book from 1970s, and some hippies whipped it out of little pieces of glass and glued it with silicone, and I fell in love. So it's really low tech and it's doable, and we are going to figure this out. And it's basically going to have it's going to be like a kaleidoscope. It's going to have some of the glass made of glass, and they're going to have the sunlight come in and basically mark onto the diagram and onto the walls of this room, and onto the roof. So basically you will be able to tell when to plant potato, when Mercury is in retrograde. It's going to be a 3-dimensional interstellar and planting calendar. I would love to just touch on, before I go, on the biogeometry. So and how we're going to protect from electromagnetic radiation. So firstly, the metal shavings from metal workshops, they are thrown away for free. We can take those and mix them into our wall medium, whether it be super adobe mix or whether it be the dry pounded earth mix into the tires. We can mix those metal shavings to create an orgonite effect in our walls. Secondly, we have a 45-degree angle here and here, which is a very special biogeometric shape, and everything that happens on this side of this angle, we have a BG3 quality, which is a high harmonic of gold, high harmonic of ultraviolet, and negative green carrier wave. I'm not going to go into the specifics of all of that. Trust me, Ibrahim Karim has put in 50 years of R&D into biogeometry, which is very much linked to sacred geometry, but taken on really the next level. But we are going to have BG3 energy penetrating into all of this space, basically neutralizing the 5G, the 4G, and all the harmful electromagnetic radiation. Another feature is the Ferrocement Ceiling, which we're going to have into this main space. So for really those highly sensitive beings, another feature we'll be adding is interesting geometrical shapes, such as little copper spirals and toroidal designs, such as Rhodian coil, and these will be also hung in the spaces and connected to be able to deter and harmonize electromagnetic radiation. Of course, there are the new types of paints that are coming out, which will create a fully protective layer for electromagnetic radiation, and the curtains, which use a little bit of metal in the fabric, textiles. So you could have the curtains that you close up here, and this house will be completely protected from harmful effects of EMR. And of course, you're growing food in all of these spaces, your own organic food all year round. The herbs are so potent on boosting your immunity, which is a key component of staying healthy throughout your life and the challenging times ahead. So I think this is it. I just really wanted to share this with you. The training is not ready. It will be ready in a year's time from now on. Beautiful pens, a lot of pencils, a lot of pencils. So these are going to really come in handy to make this drawing a beautiful wonder. I'm going to add some color so you can see exactly the hot air movement, the cold air movement, the hot pipes, the cold pipes. You will just have to take my word on this, that there's going to be a freaking awesome training. So I really am relying on your investment to make this a reality. So by learning this course with me, you will be able to build this home from ground up, from theory, from practical, from foundation, from excavation, every step of the way. I will guide you. We'll have professional footage, I have professional microphone, and we're going to have a drone which will be filming this from the bird's eye view so you can see exactly how it's all going up together. I've just bought a car. I just relocated to Russia. Wow! Having your own water is #1 priority in any permaculture homestead. In our online video training, you will learn how to harvest water from roof, hard surface,
and in the ground. To store the rainwater, you'll learn how to build 3 types of water reservoirs, as well as an eco pool. This simple biochar filter will treat your rainwater to drinking quality at 300 liters per day. You'll master the construction of Earthship-inspired reed beds and wetlands, which will allow you to recycle all of your wastewater for organic garden irrigation, methane production, and flushing of loos. You will learn how to build a variety of terraces, which turn your garden into a living sponge, as well as a wall which can withstand a river and flood. The water self-sufficiency training combines some of the best water tech I've learned from teachers such as Jeff Lawton, John Todd, Mike Reynolds, John Jevons, as well as many others. Join our water self-sufficiency permaculture in action training risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And for the duration of the COVID pandemic, we're throwing in our entire dome home building course, where you're going to learn from start to finish how to build your very own low-tech, low-cost, and super affordable eco dome home. We have over 100 lessons which will take you through drawing your own foundation on the ground, then digging it out, building the foundation so it doesn't siphon up water up the walls, building of the walls, building of the bags and the bricks around the windows and door frames, finishing up the upper layers, which are quite tricky, installing the skylights, and of course doing the electrical, doing the flooring, installing the fireplace, installing a constructed wetland which is in front of that dome, making a custom bath, and much more. We'll be covering 2 building methods: the hempcrete building method, which gives you a Roman arch geometry, and of course the Cal Earth Super Adobe Lancet art geometry. And of course you can replace these with hempcrete bricks or whatever other lightweight alternative you have. So you will learn how to build 2 types of dome homes and create an entire off-grid water ecosystem for them or for your current home, all for $99. Usually these both courses go for $100 each. And because of the pandemic and the need for people to get the heck out of the cities now and to start building your very own off-grid ecological homesteads, we have lowered the price of both the Abundance of Water course and Living Eco Home to $99 for both trainings. And of course, you're going to learn how to build a 40,000 litre, 10,000 gallon underground water tank right underneath that dome, which you can use as a safety bunker or as a hidden 10,000 gallon underground water reservoir. Whatever your needs are, we're going to learn it from start to finish, and we do have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So check out our training, and if you don't like it one bit for whatever reason, pop me one email and I will refund your tuition fees in full. So I look forward to be seeing you inside of our digital classroom with over 1,000 other students, where we are learning and commenting and assisting and helping each other to build a new reality that makes the old one obsolete. And all our videos are fully downloadable, so you can download our videos and watch them offline wherever you are. We, Alosha Linov
and Zoe Inkovskaya, as a family, invite you to join us on an interesting journey where we, without dividing ourselves into socially accepted gender roles, build a new reality of true freedom and happiness. We can proudly state so, as we receive incremental, wonderful changes, confirming that our step-by-step, stress-free journey to leave the system is working. We daily experience a unity within our family, manifesting multiplication of abundance in all spheres of our lives.
Thank you.
Alusha came to Ghana to teach us how to build. We don't know how to build in this way. I'm an electric welder, but now I've learned a lot. And now as I'm talking to you, if Alusha is not here, I can build it myself because he teach me and I take it perfectly and it's good for me. Yeah.